Jnanatimirandasya Gyanam Janashalakaya Saksharinalitam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namashrishtam Anumapi Satyaputram Atrasarupam Rupam Tasyagrajamurupurim Maturim Gaushavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratipta Kripaya Shri Gurum Tammatasmi Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha Titanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha Nikhilashruti Mole Ratnamala Diti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta Jimukta Kulairupashyamanam Paritastram Harinam Samshrayami Narpita Charim Chirat Karunayavatirana Kalaho Shamarpayitam Unnatoshvalarasam Subhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dyuti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Hridaye Kandaresh Purato Vasatinandana Ande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Budadaye Pushpavantu Chitra Sangdutamanuto Rasa Ghana Mohana Murtim Vichitra Keli Mahotsavolashitam Radha Chanana Veloditam Ruchira Srikandam Harim Vande Vrindavaneshwari Tavaiva Padaravindam Premamritaikam Darasogapuranam Hridyarpitam Madhupatir Smaratapamogram Nirbhapayat Paramashitalamashayami Bhaktya Vihinaya Paradalakshay Kiptashtakamadittarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Shri Raghavinda Ji ki jai, Shri Gaur Gadadhar ki jai, Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Parampara ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanand Hari Bol. So, as Krishna Chandra Prabhu mentioned, thank you for the invitation. Louder. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So he's speaking about urgency. No, some burning topics, something we may need to ask about or share, bring to the table, so we can have a deep peace and communion with our pillow tonight. And blessed rest for a beautiful celebration tomorrow. You are more than invited to bring whatever you may like. We will share all together, honor your inquiries. That's how it works in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and mostly every time that Parikshit Maharaj presents a question to Sukadev Goswami's first thing that Sukadev Goswami does in many cases is before answering is glorifying the question and the questioner. And then he moved forward to, after duly honoring the question, trying to say something about it, right? So, Pariprashna, no? This Krishna says in the Gita, no? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So pariprashna means to inquire, prashna, pari, all around. Like when you do parikram, which means walking all around. So pariprashna means like inquiring all around, not just satisfied with one angle, one perspective, and not just intellectual curiosity, but actually deep, passionate commitment to the truth, no? Eagerness. Yeah, that's the price to pay. Tatra laulyam api ekalam maulyam, right? So anyhow, whomever wants to bring your passion to the table.
Right, just one thing. Maybe you can elaborate a little. We're just entering as Janmasthami, and in the tradition, there is a beautiful term. It's called Adivastiti.
Yeah.
This is the day before a great festival is happening. So, is a holy day like Janmashtami, is it just holy because thousands of people are focused on something on this world? Or what else is it if it's not just made up by a collective of people? So what is a sacred day? And maybe you can think or elaborate, what is the adivastiti in our consciousness? What is the preparation for such a day in our consciousness?
That's urgent, Krishna Chandra?
Yeah.
Yes, good. Yeah. Probably this adivastiti has to do with urgency, right? I cannot wait till tomorrow, so we need to start celebrating today, right? I love this person so much, I had to start a birthday party a day before, something like that, right? Yeah, yeah. In the morning, I didn't mention the word adibas, but I was thinking about invoking you and reminded me. Thank you for that. Yeah, many times I like to say that, and I've seen many sadhus doing that, not even one day before, sometimes doing like 1 week warming up before Janmastami or Gaur Purnima or whatever, and then we can have the afterthought another week. 1 way the Srimad Bhagavatam is that it's a warming up for the 10th canto, and then comes the afterthought of the 3rd canto. So many chapters in the or the warming up for the Braja Lila, and then even the 10th canto. I'm going too fast, Ishodian? I'm going too fast? No, that's another separate, but I'm asking if I'm going too fast. Be honest.
Of course.
Of course I'm going too fast.
For me, yes.
Okay, I go slowly, no problem. Yeah. I'll try my best to go slower as well. So, Srimad Bhagavatam. We have the Braja Lila in the 10th canto, which is a few chapters compared with the rest of the 10th canto, even, to speak the whole book. So our acharyas sometimes present like that. No, the first 9 cantos are warming up for us to understand what's this. In one sense, what's this Krishna Janmastami? No, what's this Krishna conception of the divine, and how Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, how to make sense of that cryptic one line in the Bhagavatam. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, or Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is God when God wants to be himself. That's basically the meaning of Swayam. Now, when God like dawns in English, like puts away the God upadi and becomes himself.
Gottes Designation, Gottes Überstülpung.
Thank you. Sorry. In Vrindavan, if Krishna says I'm God, that's an upadi. That's false ego. That's a false sense of identity that doesn't correspond there. Someone say, we heard that maybe he may be that's an anartha that needs to be eradicated or something. Anyhow, so the whole, understandably so, the first 9 cantos are preparing our consciousness to process, to internalize this notion of Krishna in Vrindavan, when God is so lost and found in love that he loses sight of his godhood and everyone else as well. So that's very peculiar theological notion that needs some preparation of the soil. So the first 9 cantos are that. And then, in case we still need to process and internalize that more, so many more chapters in the 10th canto, and 2 more cantos, especially 11th canto, deeply philosophical, Uddhava Gita, to make sure that we properly understood the 10th canto. So I'm saying all this in the context of Adibas, right? Like Before something, there is a preparation. After that something, there is an afterthought of that something. So yeah, I always like to myself to do it like that. If we are approaching some special day, warm up for a few days before, continue reflecting after, and maybe reflecting after so much time that then we start again to warm up for the same celebration the next day. And in one sense, it becomes like a continuous flow. So 6 months warming up, Janmastami, 6 months reflecting after, and then comes the 6 month warming up for the next Janmastami. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to, I mean, Krishna is not a person that we want to remember one time per year or something, right? Smartavya satatam vishnur vishmartavya na jatu chit. Sarva viddhini sedasyure tayore kinkara, says the scripture. Always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna. It doesn't say think about him once in a year for his birthday. I mean, those relationships exist. We don't condemn them. I'm sure we all have some people that we may only call them once in a year to say happy birthday. It's okay. Now, we cannot be best friends with everyone in creation. So we may have those once in a year birthday call relationships. But we don't want Krishna to be that type. So I would say that Krishna Janmashtami is a special reminder, once in a year, a special reminder for that which will be present in us the remaining 364 years, 64 days of the year. No? It's not like, okay, tomorrow is a special day and the next day, okay, let's wait 1 year after the next special day. It's like, no. Those are special reminders. So we can receive enough samskars, enough impressions, enough inspiration, gain enough momentum to carry that throughout the year. And when we're about to forget or get distracted, okay, let's warm up again, so to say, right? But yeah, I will relate this Adivas Tithi, or this day before the official celebration, as our teachers had mentioned. One cannot contain basically waiting for the official day, and I need to start celebrating 1 day before. No? That's a, but again, that's not limited to 1 day before. That's just an example of how ideally we should feel, like Krishna Chandraji was explaining regarding fasting, or upavas. The purpose of upavas is not depriving myself of something, not doing something. It's not to be defined in negative terms. That is, Srila Maharaj will say, I become so absorbed in the object of my affection, that I forgot to eat. That's how upavas should happen. Upavas means to reside close. Vasa means like dam basa, residence, and upa means close. So I'm getting so close to the object of my affection. I'm gaining communion so intimately with my beloved one that I forgot to eat. No? I mean, if we are absorbed in something, we forgot about everything else. Sometimes we are absorbed in suffering and we forgot to eat and sleep. Sometimes we are absorbed in joy, celebration, we forget to eat, sleep, whatever. So absorption has that quality that it really makes you unaware of everything and anything else. So we are always absorbed in something and we are always distracted to something else. That's how it works always. So free will means you choose the object of your absorption and the object of your distraction. No? What do you want to be absorbed in? What do you want to be distracted from? No? So as upavas is all about absorption, and fasting should ideally come as a byproduct, because if not, the opposite happens. All day thinking about I have to fast and how hungry I am, how tempted I am to eat. So instead of being absorbed, upavas, getting closer and closer to Krishna, you're absorbing food. So how much you can call that fasting? You follow? I can eat for 5 minutes and the rest of the day I'm not thinking about food. Or I cannot eat food for a whole day, but I'm all day thinking about food. So what was the purpose of that? Right? So in the same way, Adivas is like one day before celebration, but it's just like an example of that can be expanded to more than one day. Ideally, should be expanded to our whole life. But we have to begin somewhere. No?
It's Adivas life.
Yeah. Upavas, Adivas. But we have to begin somewhere. Like Krishna says in the Gita, Chatur Vidava Jantamam, Ya Artha Jignasur Artharthi Jnanicha. Different people come to me from different places. Some looking for money, relief, knowledge. Some looking for me, not mostly. Most are looking for the benefits they can derive from me. But Krishna says, I receive all of them. Because we have to start somewhere. No? Bhagavatam says the same, right? Akama, sarvokama, va moksha kama, udaraditi, brena, bhakti, yogena, jayata, purushampana. Bhagavatam says, whether you are akama, you have zero desires, you are sarvakama, you have all the desires in the world, or moksha kama, you only have one desire, moksha. No matter where you are in between that spectrum, Krishna says, just come to me. I welcome you from wherever you are. No? So this is the same. Okay, ideally, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Well, ideally. If you cannot do that, okay, we can start remembering Krishna one day before his birthday. If you cannot do that, okay, on his birthday. If you cannot do that because of fasting, then it's something, and remember Krishna, his birthday. Let's begin somewhere. No? Not as an excuse to being lazy, but just from wherever we can, from there gradually try to expand the celebration to birthday, Adivas, 2 days, 3 days a year, 4 days a year, uninterrupted flow of absorption. Gruvanu, Smriti, Samadhi, all these stages of absorption described in our tradition.
If you have to make rain.
He's constructing a stirrup.
Oh, show my clothes. Don't start from there.
They will open the roof.
Das ist besser, Jonah, ja genau. Kannst du weggehen, Bruno? Bruno?
It's raining here. They're opening some roof. It's fine, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I have to speak even louder.
It's only short. Es gibt wieder einen schönen Regenbogen geben.
Yeah. So, some thoughts? I don't know if that's out.
Yes. Maybe about the sacred day. Is it only
I'm missing some parts of your question. So
is it just because of thousands of people and the devas they're celebrating tomorrow, so in the collective field it gives a certain atmosphere, or is there an inherent sacredness not just because someone remembers it?
What will Krishna Chandra say? Someone asked him that same question. Traveling with the camera here.
I really asked the question.
I believe you.
Yes.
I didn't hear that question.
Is it a sacred day just because persons think of it and remember it, and it creates an atmosphere in the consciousness, in the collective field? Or is it the inherent sacredness or something, even if no one would remember it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will answer both. No? Of course, there is an inherent sacredness in the event itself, even if not one single human being will be celebrating Janmasthami. It doesn't make it less sacred. But at the same time, the fact that there is a collective, especially present and participating and celebrating on that particular day, that creates a further layer of impact and influence, right? So it's already perfect, it's Purna, but it becomes even more perfect. No? Like Rupa Goswami would say, Purna, Purnatara, Purnatama. What will you say? And we can have difference of opinion, no problem.
Yes, we can. But, I feel on one level, really, just because so many absorb in it, and the Shastras say even all the Devas celebrate this day, it creates a certain openness.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what we make. And it's always a certain limit, maybe. But Janmashtami means he's coming to this world. Anugrahaya Bhaktana Manusham Dehamashrita, out of extreme compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So this expression of deep compassion, like you say, it doesn't matter even if it's remembered or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Krishna has the mentality of a deep karma yogi. Even if no one recognizes it in the whole creation, I still do Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. I will still come again and again, even if no one would celebrate it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if no one would turn back to me, I would not give up.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, no attachment to results.
Yeah.
Thank you. You raised your hand before, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd love to ask a question regarding the lecture this morning.
Mm.
And you did say, and I thought I am very touched by the sentence, but when I started to reflect upon it, then I was not so sure if I really understood it right. So the sentence was, mercy is causeless but not priceless.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking, mercy is causeless because it happens, or it is unconditionally, or that's mercy. That's the term of mercy. It happens unconditionally. I don't have to do something.
There is no cause.
So if we walk this path of Bhakti, it is a path of revolution. Is it right, Krishna Chandra? An Offenbarungsweg?
Revelation.
Revelation.
Revolution also.
Yeah.
Revelation. So every step we make on this path is actually also because of the mercy of Radha Krishna. So, and when I then think about mercy is causeless but not priceless, I ask myself, what does it really mean, priceless? Because if we don't have to do anything to get the mercy, it cannot be that we have to do something before the mercy, otherwise it would not be mercy. So then the priceless would have to be something to do after the mercy happens. So if it has to do something after the mercy happens, then I ask myself, what does it really mean? So do we then have to do something after mercy happens? Do we then have to do something because it's not priceless? Or
Yeah.
is it because our life changes because of the mercy? That's why this is the price we then pay, because the life changes. I mean, in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Here I was not 100% clear.
Thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's only one price, because you're asking like, is this price or this price? Yeah, that. Like, to give you an example, right? We were saying we speak about causeless mercy. No, that's a typical expression. So causeless means there is no cost. I didn't do something to earn the mercy, to deserve the mercy. Because if not, it will belong to another department. It will be more justice department. You obtain what you deserve. So mercy means there is something that I didn't do anything. So that's causeless. Now, when I say there is a price to that, I mean, like, we are already receiving causeless mercy in so many ways, but we are not realizing that.
Everyone is.
Yeah, exactly. And we are not many times aware of that because there is a price to pay for that. And my point is, for example, we were talking today about Krishna's unconditional love for us, which means Krishna loves you and you did nothing to deserve that. For the false self, for the ego, that's not an easy pill to swallow. No? You are receiving this generous, endless gift, and you did nothing to deserve it. That's the death of the ego, actually. So many times we cannot deal with something like that because we are accustomed to deserving things, earning stuff. So if someone tells you this is an absolutely free, endless, gratuitous gift, you did nothing to deserve it, and no matter what you do, you will never deserve it because it's too much to be deserved. You cannot even think about deserving in terms of unconditional love. A new word you need to create, not deserving. It's another department. So there's a price to pay to accept such an idea in your life. You have to be very humble to accept, wow, I'm being loved unconditionally since time without beginning, even at those moments when I dare to say, God does not exist, or I'm blaming him for this or that, and he's still loving me unconditionally. And I did nothing I did everything to deserve the opposite, and still the opposite is coming. You follow my point? That's very humbling. I will say even that's humiliating for the false self. So who is willing to pay? There's a price to pay. Accepting that, that's intense. Many times we cannot accept that. So that's where we are back into the cause and effect world. No, what I deserve, that's what I obtain. Okay, you end up being a loser again. That will be an example of it's causeless, but it's not priceless, right? So my point is, there is something we need to do in order for us to realize what is already there. The mercy, the grace is already there, but unless I die to my false self that thinks in terms of earning, deserving, I cannot feel that gift.
Add one angle to that.
Yeah, of course.
Because there was a beautiful passage in the book of Walter Eichler's, I think, Finnish Odyssey, about someone who is praying for causeless mercy. And then Sadananda is saying, But then when God's mercy shows up as something we don't really want, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
a disaster or cancer, then we say, oh, then probably we don't want that mercy, right? At that point in time. So
yeah,
we wanted to make the distinction that how do we perceive causeless mercy?
Yeah.
I think usually the tendency is to think of it as some epiphany by which we get amazing taste for the holy name. Darshan. So it can show up as something that we may not recognize as such.
Yeah. Actually, in one sense, it's nice because today in the morning we were a little bit talking about that, giving the example of Draupadi asking Krishna for mercy, and he appeared as endless sari. So it was not the usual appearance. I mean, you don't think Krishna will appear as a cloth, but that was how the mercy appeared. Or Krishna lifting Govardhan. The point was, we can ask Krishna for mercy or shelter, but how that will come is up to him. No, but as you say, we generally have very preconceived notions of Krishna, give me mercy, but the mercy should be in this way, in this measure, in this color, in this time, place, and circle. And Krishna is like, if you know everything is so perfect, why you are even calling me, right? But many times we ended up, as I like to say, sometimes tragicomically, we say, Krishna, give me your mercy. Krishna gives mercy. And then we pray to him again, Krishna, give me mercy to counteract that situation. And he said, that was my mercy, now from your previous prayer. Now you're praying for mercy to counteract my previous mercy. So yeah, we should be open to, we should be trusting Krishna knows better than I what's the thing that I need the most, basically. So that's another price to pay, right? Praying for mercy and being surrendered in accepting the shape and form and taste and color and mode of the mercy that I actually need, and let go of my own preconceptions of what's mercy, right? Thank you. Loud.
I was thinking of the song from Bhakti, what is the Pablo guy? Right? It's about Nityananda Prabhu, who is telling everyone, it's Bhakti Pablo, but he's telling everyone, yeah, please come, Nityananda Prabhu open to marketplace of the holy name.
Yeah.
And he's giving it to everyone, but with one prize, and the prize is faith.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of this, a little bit the same direction. Yeah.
Have you heard?
No.
There's some prize to hear.
There's a prize. You have to listen attentively. She's quoting one song from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the song of the commissioner. I don't know how you say in English. That speaks about Nityananda Prabhu opening Namahata, the marketplace of the holy name, and being very liberal in giving the gift of the holy name and saying, but there's one price to pay, and that's Shraddha, that's the price in the market, the currency of the market. He gives this analogy of a market. So the product is the holy name, and the currency is your faith. So there is a price to pay. And you say faith, and I was talking about surrender a minute ago. And Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Sandarbha that Sharanagati, or surrender, is the outward expression of Shraddha, faith. No? So faith is not just, I have faith, I believe in Krishna. No, faith has to be shown in how you surrender. Faith is not believing in some concept. Faith is playing out your belief in surrender, in how you live your life. Right? So
the example of Draupadi again, Krishna just came when she made like this.
Yeah. The other day we were talking with the devotee about that. Now she said, Bhakti Rasa, she said, the whole spiritual journey could be summarized in 3 sequences from this Leela of Draupadi. In the beginning, she was with the 2 hands taking the cloth, not trusting, not surrendering. Then she, one hand calling Krishna, but the other one still trusting my own capacity. At the end, so 1, 2, 3. That we can summarize the whole journey in that way. In the beginning, we are like all depending on me. I don't trust. I don't surrender. Then a little bit, half and half, and finally, yeah.
So then I have another question. How can we develop this kind of deep Shraddha?
What would you say if someone asks you that question? I'm asking the question, how can I develop this Shraddha Damayanti?
Associate with personalities who have this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. We'll use some microphones.
Just in case.
No, I have no problem. I can use it now. If you want.
Welcome to MC Music World.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, sounds horrible. Now that's nice. Yeah.
Welcome to MC Music World. Speaker mode.
That goes like this, right? Yes. So maybe here, like this. Hello? Yeah. Can you hear me? In the back? Everyone is happier in the back? Yes. So, yeah, Damayanti made a good point. She asked how to develop Shraddha, deep faith. And again, Shraddha is not belief, right? It's always important to differentiate believing from having faith. No? Like this famous time that they asked Carl Jung, do you believe in God? He said, no, I know he exists. So it's not the same. I believe there's someone over there, maybe. No, I know that person exists. So I don't even to speak in terms of believing. So Shraddha has to do with having had some experience, and then you have trust in that experience, basically. But of course, for that you need to have the experience, and that's why you refer to those who already have that faith. Sadhu Sanga will call it. In our tradition, Rupa Goswami gives these 9 stages of Bhakti, and it begins with Shraddha. But actually, there is a previous stage to Shraddha. Actually, he says, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sanga. So Ado means in the beginning, and some commentators to that verse say that Ado means another Sadhu Sangha, which comes before Shraddha, which sows the seeds of Shraddha, and then comes the more official Sadhu Sangha when you take connection with guidance, gurus, and engage in the bhajana kriya and artha-nivritti, nishta ruchi shakti bhava prem. So there is a Sadhu Sangha before Sadhu Sangha, so to say, because that's how, as we say in the morning, bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. Bhakti comes from Sadhu Sangha. Bhakti comes from Bhakti, and Sadhu Sangha is an anga of Bhakti. So Bhakti comes from Bhakti means Bhakti comes from Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Bhakti Janmamul is Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prem Janmetenho Punar Mukhya Anga. Chaitanya Charitamrita says. Krishna Bhakti Janmamul, the root cause that gives birth to Krishna Bhakti, Sadhu Sangha. And then, interestingly, says Krishna Prem Janmetenho Punar Mukhya. Even when you attain Krishna Prem, Sadhu Sangha remains Mukhya Anga, like a main aspect of your practice. Even more important, the closer you get to divine love, the more important. Again, Bhakti comes from Bhakti. So Sadhu Sangha is Bhakti, and the more you advance in Bhakti, the more you advance in Sadhu Sangha. Yeah. Yeah, I would say remaining in close connection with those people that give us very undeniable experiences how true this path is. Because sometimes we are very capable of doubting everything. You have a great adhikar for doubt. But when you have a very undeniable experience that is too deep to deny, but too broad to fully comprehend at the same time, that leaves you in a very humbled and open place, right? So sadhu sangha should have some certain qualities for us to develop deep faith. No? Again, you ask how to develop deep shraddha. We need sadhu sangha, but not only sadhu sangha, deep sadhu sangha. Of course, sadhu sangha should be deep. If I say superficial sadhu sangha, it's a contradiction of terms. No? It's like saying, like Srila Prabhupada will say, false guru. Real guru, there are no false gurus. Guru is Sadguru. But I need to clarify, he will say, because in the name of Guru, so many other stuff is coming. So Sadhu Sangha, I want that addition that Krishna Chandra gave. Footnote.
I just said, old people, strange persons who just
Strange guy.
That's, yeah, perfect. So Sadhu Sangha, Rupa Goswami uses these three terms, right? Swajatiya, Snigdasya, Swatavara. That's how he really elaborates what Sadhu Sangha. Which means Swajatiya, like-minded, people that we feel we are speaking the same language, sharing the same spirit, heart. Snigdasya, affectionate. And Swatavara, generally translated as more advanced. But I will also add to that, and I've asked other sadhus about it, and they agree. Swatavara also can mean maybe it's another group of people who are not necessarily more advanced. We are on a similar level, but we are so sincere that a more advanced current manifests through us. No? Let's say you have a group of Madhyam Bhaktas, but they are so sincere, so honest, that some Uttam current of revelation will descend through them. So that will be another interpretation of Swatavara. So Sadhu Sangha has to have all those ingredients. Like-mindedness, affection, transparency, honesty, so something higher can flow through us. If that's not there, that's not Sadhu Sangha technically. We have another name for that. That's Asat Sangha. Asat Sangha basically means Sadhu Sangha or Sat Sangha basically means technically Sat Sangha. Sat means real, truth, something that exists. Can be honest, honesty. Satam, another word for sadhu is satam in the Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada translates as utterly honest. So sat can reflect honesty, realness. And sangha, in Bhagavad Gita, sangha translates as attachment. So sat sangha means attachment to being honest. That's what sadhu sangha means. We get together, so we get attached to be honest with one another. It's not just as social dynamics on a Sunday feast. Haribol, Prabhu, everything nectar, see you next week. Because sometimes in the name of satsanga, we actually promote asatsanga. Asatsanga means attachment to dishonesty, to duplicity, to putting a religious mask, which are the most effective ones to hide everything else. And everything externally looks very religious, very pious, very legal. We know what to say, when to say the Haribol, when to say everything nectar, and when to run away when the masks start to crack. And we start to be seen for who we actually are. So satsanga or sadhu sanga means we get together to be honest and transparent with one another, to be seen for who we are and to see others for who they are, and to accept each other unconditionally, and in this way reflecting the unconditional love and acceptance that Krishna already has for each one of us. We need to embody that for each other. Sometimes it's not enough for us to, oh yeah, Krishna loves me unconditionally. That's nice. But if we don't experience any of that in satsanga, it may be more hard to believe that. So we are to embody that for each other. So I'm saying all that in the context of how to develop deep Shraddha. When we belong to that type of satsanga, naturally, there is a very undeniable experience, and we can develop so much trust, confidence based on that association, that type of sacred company. Yeah. I don't know if that helps. Thank you. Someone was raising their hand. Few, I don't know. Francesca. Patrak raised first, actually. Okay, so we go there. Patraka, Francesca. Who raised in the back? It's fine, it's fine.
About experiences, but it is also maybe a two of the question, so it's okay to just answer part of it. So I asked myself for quite a long time, how can one
Distinguish.
Thank you.
That's okay.
What we think is something God tells us to do, or a sign we got, or I don't know what our karma is, or many things like that, and what actually is from our ego or our that makes us think that yes, we should do this, and then we get more we are powered by the thought that surely this is because I have to do this. How do we know if we really should do this, and if it is just something I say false that is trying to get us to do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you. Chandra, your turn.
You speak and I translate.
You're hiding in the translation 7. What happened with Ishodian? The previous translator collapsed? Where's resting? Sorry? Oh, it's fine. You can say something and then translate for them. They will wait. They are good people. They are patient. Yeah. You want the microphone?
No. Just maybe one sentence. It's something
You give the sutra and then I have to do the hard work, right?
It's something I very, very deeply believe. That's a divine revelation, something which comes from a level beyond ourselves. This morning we spoke about that it has to have the element of surprise. But we have inbuilt in our system a way of measuring it. That it's not from our ego, but it's really something from beyond. Like we have an inbuilt function to know is something really true. And even if someone is not even following a sadhana, not even following a spiritual discipline, one knows, this is really true. I'm not ready for it and I don't want it, but I know it would be true. So even Immanuel Kant, he says, I'm bowing down before that capacity in human beings. In human beings, we know it. But another way of measuring that I strongly believe as a way of distinguishing, is this something, a revelation, or something just made by the ego? Is it creating a wideness, a Weite in the consciousness? And everything that we produce is just naturally creating a narrowness. In the Bhagavatam, there's even in the Uddhava Gita a verse. People think we suffer from certain structures of thoughts. Oh, this is from negative thinking, but Uddhava Gita says we suffer of the whole structure itself, not just some certain expression, because it creates a narrowness. So the word for wideness in Sanskrit is Mahatma. So we are meant for that. And when really something is touching us, it creates an extreme broadness in the consciousness. And what is when the consciousness gets broad? I can also say the inner space gets more broad. This is the Sanskrit word is called for space is ka. And when it's expanding, it's su. Su means expanding. So this means a natural happiness is there. A happiness that is not even made from certain, I want something, I experience some nice sense perception. It's just when something is a revelation, it creates a broadness. And when this inner space gets more broad, there is a very natural happiness that has not even a source in this world. Krishna says in Gita, Ashantasya kuta sukham. When the inner space is not broad, there is no question of happiness. So I strongly believe we have these inner meters inbuilt in human nature, what is true and also what is produced in the narrowness of our being, and what is something coming from beyond. Just a little.
Can I do a challenge on that?
Purvapaksha ki jai.
Yeah. No, because I was thinking when you were explaining that, is it not possible that someone may have a deep, all of a sudden a deep realization, being brought up in, I don't know, suppressing Christian faith, all of a sudden, God doesn't exist, for example, right? And this is just an expansion because it has been such a narrowing structure, and all of a sudden there's a feeling of expansion, right? But from our perspective, we would probably say this is not
divine revelation.
Yes, exactly. Not a divine revelation. Just
can I follow up on that, because I had the same thought. Okay. And this by no means I don't want to ruffle any feathers, so to speak. But what you were talking about, I think that's probably the more advanced stage. And now we're going 360 degrees back to sadhu sanga from the teacher. I think you walking the tightrope if you think you can work out what is right or wrong, just based on feelings. This feels right to me, this feels wrong to me. Different influences, different cultural backgrounds, and you need somebody who puts you straight, basically.
You know, I think spiritual teachings are really meant to, I agree with you, we have a conditioned structure. But we also have something that Srimad Bhagavatam and the Acharyas called conscience, innerstes Gewissen. And this is something different. And I strongly believe people have this, even beyond the conditioned side. And normally, in spiritual structures, the belief in such a tendency is normally taken away, and this is a very tragic thing. Normally, spiritual surrounding should strengthen this innermost conscience. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes so far to say in the Bhagavat, I think you quoted this somewhere, even if Guru, Sadhu, Shastra say something, but your inner conscience goes another way, you should even give more emphasis to this innermost conscience. And this is like, it's a very deep topic, but it's something I think we naturally have, and it should be strengthened much more, because sadhu sanga is not a dependency circle. It's something, you know, they give much more faith in a thing that you already perceive in a very subtle way. Normally we don't have much faith. But what is the experience when your inner conscience actually says it, and suddenly it's confirmed by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra? This is a very joyous moment, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls it a Shraddha moment. So this is, so Maharaj, I just want to, maybe you can add a little on this.
And Damayanti is raising her hand for the last 10 minutes.
Because to Arjuna, we spoke about this here in the Sangha, and we came to this point that, yeah, at this moment it seemed to be a revelation, but there will be still something which knows, no, there is something. So this person, it will not take so much to lighten this again.
I would say even maybe for a narrow-minded person, it's really an advancement to slowly, it's a healing moment to go a little away. The inner conscience says yes. A healing corrective. Atheism is a healing corrective to narrow-minded spirituality. So there are many topics, Maharaj.
I think you said it all, yeah, but yeah, I would think about so many things hearing all of you. The balance between, okay, Guru, Shastra, Sadhu is there. We are not against feedback and guidance and inspiration, but yeah, at the same time, there's pratyaksha, one's personal direct experience, or one's inner consciousness, or conscious, sorry. And one being even one's own guru at times, like the Bhagavatam says in one verse, shockingly. So, and how to relate to these authorities, outer authorities, in a way that fosters inner authority. No? Because at the end of the day, also Chaitya Guru is there. I always like this word of this phrase from Srila Siddhar Maharaj. Sorry. He will say, your guru is your own potential appearing in front of you. So ideally, a guru is a facilitator of potential, right? So it's someone who comes to your life showing all that you can be. It's not someone who comes to do all the things instead of you doing those things. Someone who lives in a certain way that inspires you to do your part, and in that way trust your own experience. But of course, in the beginning, it all depends which stage one is in the journey. In some cases, one may need certain specific guidance, but as we were talking today also with Krishna and Chandra Prabhu, it's very delicate to the point because it can become codependent also, and the guru can end up being like, okay, marriage counselor and where to live and whom to marry and where to work, and the disciple becomes addicted, seeing the guru like an answering machine, basically, on any topic except for the actual topic the guru should be instructing you about. And the guru may end up in a very compromised and complacent situation, like, oh, my disciples come to ask me about everything and anything in their lives, and ideally that's not a healthy scenario, right? Because generally, you can be a pure devotee and a guru, but doesn't mean you are expert in which car to buy, which city to go to live, whom to marry, and what to work in. So that's the point. A guru should give an example, give instructions that are exemplified, not just speak nicely, but behave nicely, walk the talk, but in a way that is inviting the disciple, the student, to have their own experience. No? Pratyaksha. Sanatana Goswami says this interesting thing in one commentary of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He says, the ultimate pramana, and generally we'll say, is Shabda. Say no, Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means personal experience.
Also called the inner guru.
What? Pratyaksha? I mean, it's not necessarily called, but you can call it that way if you want. Pratyaksha means personal experience. So you have to have an experience. I mean, you can hear from Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, and even if you say, no, it's not personal experience, it's main evidence is Shastra. But you cannot avoid having a personal experience of Shastra. We are always having a personal experience of everything. No? Like someone comes and tells me that guru is a pure devotee, and I was like, how do you know that? And generally the answer is because everyone is saying the same thing. And how do everyone else knows that? And I'm not doubting, questioning, but just if you have to have a personal. At the end of the day, it boils down to that. And even Shabda is a type of Pratyaksha. Shabda will say scripture, revelation. For us, the ultimate Shabda is Srimad Bhagavatam. What's Srimad Bhagavatam? Vyasadev's Samadhi.
More precisely, experience perceived through the senses, Pratyaksha?
Not necessarily. Pratyaksha means, in some contexts it can mean that, but Pratyaksha can also mean personal experience. Jiva Goswami speaks in the Sandarbhas about Vaidusha Pratyaksha and Avaidusha Pratyaksha, which means basically enlightened, first, first experience free from all bias and stuff, and personal experience mixed with other stuff. But I will agree and emphasize the point that Krishna Chandra Prabhu made at the beginning also. I know it may sound a little bit too liberal for some, which is that you should learn to trust your experience. And you should, Srila Sri say that also, we all have like an inner tasting machine, something like that. He uses that word, like tells us what's true and what's not. But we need to be in contact with that. And that's the real work. No? We all have the capacity and the potential to know what's real, what's not, what's true. But many times we are very dislocated from our own potential, from who we are. So many times the work of a guide is not so much to tell you what to do and how to think, but to align you with your own potential, with who you are. To help you to be who you are. So by being who you actually are and all that you can be, you can have all those trustworthy experiences, so to say, instead of making the student addicted to depend on what you say, how to say, and they are not taking responsibility for having a personal experience. Because even if you have a personal experience and you think, oh, it was not the most enlightened one, you still can learn from that and grow from that. So, as Richard Rowe will say, we generally grow more by doing it wrong than by doing it right. Many times we are too fearful of making it wrong, and we want always to know in advance how to make the most perfect decision. And sometimes that shows more fear and doubt and unwillingness to learn that just accepting that I may be wrong at some time, but if I learn from my mistake, how much can I call that a mistake, actually? So the important thing here is not be perfect, never make a mistake, but be sincere enough to learn from everything. Some extra thoughts to them. It's an ongoing conversation. We need a separate retreat for this topic. We are just giving a trailer for that retreat whenever that one comes. There were a track. You had a question, or that was what you mentioned before? No, that's something else. Yeah.
And my understanding is the only Shraddha that's really of value and that counts is sastriya-sraddha. Would you agree with that?
Would you like to explain what's sastriya-sraddha? Maybe for some it's a new concept.
That what Shastra tells you is the absolute truth, and you should follow basically, regardless how opposite it might be to your way of thinking or how you handle certain things. That's the basis, basically.
So that's a term used also in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Now we have this term sastriya-sraddha, and we have the term laukiki shraddha. So laukiki means kind of mundane, based on public opinion. Whatever someone thinks, okay, I go there, following the masses. Sastriya-sraddha, on the contrary, is developing my faith based on what revelation teaches. But again, we have to go back to what we were saying a minute ago. Because I cannot just blindly trust the Bhagavad Gita if I never had any experience of the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita in my life, right? If I bring you Bhagavad Gita, you never read the Bhagavad Gita, you don't know what's the Bhagavad Gita. Believe this book. That means sastriya-sraddha. No, that means cultish behavior and blind following. Right? So for me to, I agree that sastriya-sraddha is the ideal type of shraddha based on revelation. But for that to happen, I have to have an experience that what revelation teaches is revelation. You follow my point? Because again, shraddha is not belief. Shraddha is trust based on experience. So if there is no experience whatsoever yet,
feel the shastras and not only think about it.
You have to have an experience of, and there are degrees of that, of course, not black and white. It's not you have faith, you don't have faith, you have an experience, you don't have an experience, but we can only have shraddha based on experience. No? Even if let's say it's not an, you didn't have an experience of some particular concept from Shastra, let's say. Okay, Krishna's hue is such like the color of the dark rainy cloud. So you may say, I cannot have shraddha in that because I haven't had yet the darshan, a vision of Krishna in that color. But maybe you had an undeniable, deeply transforming experience of a person who lives his or her life in such a way that has affected to a point that if that person tells you that, you accept that because it comes from someone in relation to whom you had a very deep experience. So my point is, one way or another, you have to have some experience. It's not directly of the book, it's of the person who embodies the teaching. So So that will be like a more, for me, a more expanded explanation of what we mean by sastriya-sraddha. Because I cannot just come with the book and just hit you on the head on the book. Have sastriya-sraddha. Trust the book. Accept what's here. Because I mean, we know in the history of humanity what happened with we came with the word of God in our hand and imposing that on people without them having an experience of that. They have an experience, but it was traumatic. Right? And even some of them accepted the book even in the traumatic experience. So then you have a whole even more traumatizing religious idea and religious practice. So I think, and I think nowadays we need to de-traumatize so much that has happened generationally in the name of religion. We may have so much unconsciously inherited trauma in our DNA. So again, I'm not against sastriya-sraddha. I'm just in favor of like unpacking what it means so we do not end up being fanatics in the name of sastriya-sraddha. Because Shraddha, again, sastriya-sraddha means have faith in the Shastra, and Shastra points to personal experience. What does Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:2? Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamu Tamam.
Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam.
Thank you. Susukam Kartum Abhyayam. So he says this Bhakti, this king of knowledge, this king of all secrets, that is to be practiced with lots of joy. Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam. This Dharma, this Bhakti Dharma, Pratyaksha Vagamam, can only be understood by personal experience. No more arguments. Accept the book. Have faith.
I was thinking, but still, this sastriya-sraddha or this personal experience is still not dependent on the traumatic experience or good experience. So if you have a traumatic experience, you still could get.
Oh yeah.
This.
Yeah, of course.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, genuine experience of revelation it pierces through all the other stuff, whether good or bad, is of another category, so to say. It doesn't mean that we haven't already healed all the trauma and all that stuff, but it shows itself in a very different way. And maybe that invites us to heal what still needs to be healed or whatever, but it makes a difference. Yeah. I don't know if that helps, Patrak. And as I always like to say, whenever I say anything, I'm not giving any definitive, conclusive answer that nothing else can be added to this. It's a constant, ongoing conversation. Right? I even don't like to use the term Q&A, questions and answers. I generally use Q&E, quest and exploration. Because again, what we are exploring is the infinite. So nobody can have a final word on anything. So just to remind myself. Sorry, Krishna Chan, you were pointing.
Francisca.
Please, thank you.
So you. Thank you.
Maybe we can conclude that so it doesn't become so late for the rest. Yeah.
You spoke about how sanga could also work in another kind of structure. It sounded like you spoke about Madhyamadikaris who were praying together and speaking together, and then there is coming some
Uttama stream.
Yeah, Uttama string.
Or canistas praying together sincerely and something higher than their own individual situation coming. Yeah,
that's how.
Why not? Let's have hope.
But Uttama stream coming from Kanishta, they may be getting Madhyam.
Okay. Whatever. But my question now, how can
we build up such a sanga? How would this look like? Have you ever experienced it in this kind of way? And what is it, and how are you be nourished by such a sanga? Which sanga nourishes you? So many questions, but yeah, maybe you can just
of course, there is no one answer like this sangha from this group in this country in this institution. That's not like that. And how to do that, in one sense, I think it's what we are hopefully trying to do on a daily basis. It's not that okay, here's the magical formula, how it works, but getting attached to one another, it's a daily discipline. In honesty, getting attached in honesty. Being honest starts with being honest with yourself also. Hopefully, again, snigdasya. Sadhu Sangha has to be affectionate, Rupa Goswami says. So from being affectionate also means that you make everyone feel that you are accepted how you are, whatever you are. It's not like, okay, if you want to join this group, first you have to be perfect. That's not so affectionate. You may never say it like that, but we may give that sensation to some people. You have first to fulfill all these conditions and have this standard and perform in this way, and only then we will think about it that maybe you can be part of us. It's elitism, right? So I'm not saying there shouldn't be any criteria or discernment in a sangha if some strange elements are coming, but yeah, I will say that satsanga's attachment to honesty means being honest, not being afraid of showing where we are and where we want to be. We may have our own fears for both of them sometimes. And of course, you cannot also force yourself to trust in one another. No, so being honest means being transparent. Being transparent means being vulnerable. And being vulnerable can feel terrifying because the other person needs to know how to handle my vulnerability. If I'm vulnerable to someone who is not expert in dealing with vulnerability, I can end up feeling abused. Even if the person didn't have bad intention, they just didn't know what to do with my vulnerability. You follow? Like I became naked, so to say, in front of that person, and I was not received and nourished as I needed. So we need first to, of course, get to know person gradually to feel, okay, I will try opening here a little bit more, gradually. It's not, you cannot force people to trust the sangha or to trust you. You know? I cannot tell you here, like for example, okay, guys, we are here in a very safe circle. I cannot tell you that. You have to feel that for yourself. I cannot convince you. No, it's a safe circle. If you don't feel safe, that's it. I cannot convince you. If I insist too much in the safe circle, that starts to unsettle me. The more you insist, this is safe, this is safe, this is safe. It's like I need to leave this place as soon as possible. Right? But if by the way you behave naturally, that creates safety and openness and trust, you don't need anyone to tell you that. It's an experience, again, having the experience. And yeah, I think that gives lots of trust and openness. But sometimes we do with some devotees in different places where we travel, and some of you, we have already done it in some of our places. It's what we call circle sharing sometimes, which is a very ancient pattern in all traditions. Just sitting in circle, bring the talking stick, and everyone is invited to basically be themselves and share whatever you feel like sharing. Doesn't need to be any extraordinary thing. It can be just how you are feeling today at this moment. And everyone else is listening to you without judgment, ideally. No, without interrupting, without advising you, without preaching to you, without telling you what to do with your life. You have to resist that temptation. Because that happens, right? You're listening to others and in your mind comes all the ideal answers you could give that person for them to have a perfect life. No, just receive, listen. Receive the other, and eventually when it's your turn, allow yourself to be received by others. It's simple, but it's powerful, and it's not easy sometimes. Which again, it needs to be built gradually in a circle of trust. So it's a whole daily work. But when that happens, when that works, when the work works, it's very powerful. And just being accepted and accepting others for who we are and being seen for who we are without judgment, that can give so much relief, so much empowerment, so much sense of belonging, community. So again, that's one example. I'm not saying that's how it has to happen, but example of creating sacred space or situations where we can get to know each other in depth. And not just like, again, crossing path on the Sunday feast saying, Haribol, see you next weekend or something. Like recently we did one, and I won't mention names, but we did one, and it was interesting because some of the members knew each other for decades, but knew each other from decades in a more Sunday feast dynamic circle. But now we sat in circle and sharing, and in a few minutes they were wondering like, wow, I didn't know you were that person. You were that wasn't you. I knew you from 20 years, but I never met that side of you. Because sometimes we need to be intentional about, let's sit and open our hearts to each other. Right? It's intentional, as we were talking today. I don't know. Some thoughts about that?
Yeah, thank you very much. So would it be nourishing your Krishna consciousness, such a circle where everyone just is speaking whatever comes to them, and we do not judge each other? Is this nourishing for your?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because again, it's for me, it's kind of, if I try to listen to you without judgment, it's trying to see you as Krishna is seeing you, with unconditional acceptance. So it's a conscious effort, because it doesn't mean that judgment do not come, but you just need to and be there for the other person, and that's a way of embodying Krishna's glance for that person at that moment. So that's a very sacred moment. And many times when you listen to the other person, you see yourself mirrored in what the other person is saying, and also identify with, oh, they are going through this and that. I'm not alone in that. Because that's sometimes one of our main problems. We have our own struggles, and when we don't share them, we think, I am going through this struggle just by myself all alone. And you isolate yourself, your struggle. And everyone else probably is going through the same struggle. But if you never talk about that, everyone is isolated in that problem. And that makes the problem 10 times bigger. But when you share it, oh, I'm going through this, everyone is like, oh, I'm going through that also. Oh, it's not my problem, it's our problem. Because that creates community. That creates a sense of bonding. So that's very supportive, inspiring also. So yeah. Yeah. You can give it a try, it's for free. Just requires some courage. Okay. So we can put, it's almost 9, so everyone can go to rest and be prepared for tomorrow. That's okay. Something else, Krishna Chandraji?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we can still end with a kirtan this day.
Yes. Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Gaur